Hello, Mariama. How are you?
I'm very good, Rama. How are you doing?
Good, good, good. Congratulations on the Other Black Girl series premiering September 13th on Hulu. This show is, of course, based on Zakia Delilah Harris's novel of the same title. I guess the first obvious question is, prior to this project developing, did you read Zakia's novel? And if so, what did you think of the book? What was your impression of it?
So yes, I did read the novel well before I had any involvement with the project. It's on my bookshelf over there. I found it to be so fun, so relatable, incredibly familiar. I live in Brooklyn. I share so much, I think, with some of Nella's, internal monologue with her struggles and her anxieties. And I just was so glad that the book exists.
Did you guys always plan this adaptation to be a series instead of a movie? Was there a possibility of a movie ever discussed at all?
I think that's a better question for Zakia. I think that she knows more about the ins and outs of the journey from book to screen. I'm not sure if there was ever a plan for it to be anything other than a series.
Okay, fair enough. Now you directed the first episode. Usually, whoever directs the first episode sets the tone and the visual for the rest of the season. Other directors would use that as a palette to follow their subsequent episodes. In your conversations with the producers and Zakia, how did you guys want to look? How want the show to look like visually and style wise?
Determining the look of the show and developing that was, it was an ongoing conversation, and it's something that was in development for a really long time. I came in with a specific kind of vision, and I was fortunate that I think that it was exciting to the team and it lined up with some of the things that they were thinking of themselves. And we really wanted to create a show that had a very deliberate, intentional visual palette that was playing with colors, that was dynamic, that had an elevated atmosphere, and thinking specifically to some of the spaces, some of the ideas that I had that we implemented were, creating a very sort of austere and architectural atmosphere within the Wagner office. Just, a lot of right angles and severity. And then leaving room for a little bit more color and fluidity and freedom in Nella's spaces outside of the workplace. So bringing in, the sense of the vibrance of Brooklyn when Nella's out at the bar with Malika, or later when she's at home, just creating a little bit of softness in those spaces.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Did you guys use or utilize an already existing office space for Wagner Workplace, or did you guys happen to build an office space from scratch in a soundstage somewhere?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And it was something that, going in, we weren't sure which way we were going to go. I like working on location. And so we spent some time looking at actual office spaces, existing office spaces, but there was nothing that particularly met all of our disparate needs. So our production designer, the incredible Andrew Jackness, led a team that built the office on a stage. Yes, which was really incredible to be a part of. I had never participated on a shoot that had a build of that size. So that was just an exciting opportunity for me. And then we did use, some existing locations for part of the office, like the office lobby is, an actual lobby that we used. But the actual Wagner office floor and the bathrooms and the offices was all built from ground up, which was amazing.
Impressive, and it looks very convincing. Let's talk about the cast. Sinclair plays Nella, and Ashley plays Hazel. Did Sinclair and Ashley have to go through a rigorous audition for this project? And what was it about them that made you guys decide that they were perfect actresses for these respective roles? What stood out about them to you?
So, working with our casting director, we looked at a number of performers for the role, a lot of great people. I think that with both Sinclair and Ashley, they were immediately gripping in their tapes. This was all done, you know, with we didn't cast in person, so we're doing this all virtually, and even still they were immediately compelling. And then when we started doing different chemistry reads and bringing in different combinations, it was really exciting to see the two of them together. I think that it just further solidified our certainty that those two were just the perfect people for the role.
When directing young stars like Sinclair and Ashley, did you use the same directorial methods and approach as when working with seasoned actor like Regina Hall in your previous movie Master, for example, in order to get the best performance out of them? How does that work?
Yeah, I think that when I work with actors, I'm always bringing the same kinds of questions, and I'm always using the same approach. I tailor the way that I work for individuals, but it doesn't necessarily correspond to the amount of years that they've been working in the industry. But at the core, what I really like to do is an investigation and an analysis of the script, to look at the characters' motivations, to really understand why the characters are doing what they are, and to tie it to real lived in experiences that the actors had, and a genuine and authentic emotional experience. And so I've been really fortunate to work with some actors who have been in this industry for decades, like Regina Hall, who is a legend,
Mhm.
um, and also really fortunate to work with somebody like Sinclair Daniel, who is, towards the beginning of her career and about to blow up, and have the opportunity to work with somebody who is, really coming into their power as an actor. But I'm lucky because I think that, in every instance, I've worked with just like truly wonderful people who are so serious about their craft, who are so excited about the material, and who are really willing to take me on as a collaborator, and do the work to understanding the character and understanding the scene and the arc of the story.
This show tackles a lot of themes, including microaggression, cutthroat rivalry, racism in the corporate world, workplace politics, white privilege, gender expectations. As much as we people of color wish that things had changed from how it was back then to how it is now, some things unfortunately have not changed, or they change incrementally or slowly. What is your take on the themes conveyed in The Other Black Girl, and what do you hope the audiences would take away from watching The Other Black Girl?
So if you've read The Other Black Girl, I'm saying this to viewers, and you know that there are, like you just said, there are many themes, and there's a lot of different ideas and concepts that Zakia is working with. And I think that's something that is really cool about a work like that, is allowing a reader, or in this case, a viewer, a little bit of the space to draw conclusions as they will, and to really put emphasis on the areas that they find particularly meaningful. I know that as I read it, the parts of the novel that I really connected with, and found just very interesting, were the how Nella is finding her way through the Wagner workplace, and feeling as if she's being like alienated, because of the lack of other Black women. And then I found it really interesting to see how her experience changed once another Black woman was introduced into the workplace. I was hopeful that things might work out for her, but this being, a suspense and mystery story, it's going to take you on a little bit more of a ride. But there's so much at work there that it's really up to a viewer to see which thread they want to follow and which one they want to put the most emphasis on.
To piggyback off that, to follow up on that, there's also the matter of gatekeepers, isn't it? Like if you're an aspiring novelist, people say, hey, you got to work your way up, work as an editor in a publishing company like Nella and, get some experience. But the downside is you gotta appease those gatekeepers within that building. If you self-publish, the downside is you may not get your novel read because it's on a platform that nobody doesn't get an eyeball, and including filmmakers such as yourself, there's also gatekeepers in your industry. So what is your take on that? What are your thoughts on that? It's 2023, but it seems that gatekeepers are still inevitable out there for many promising careers.
Yeah, I think that it's an incredibly complex issue. Definitely, I mean, it goes without saying that the film and entertainment industry is rife with gatekeepers. I think that, on a certain level, it's a question of maintaining a balance of clear-headed awareness, but also not becoming overly preoccupied with that as a concept on an individual level, because otherwise it can just become incredibly depressing. I think that the job that I have found as a Black woman working in this industry is to find the spaces and the people who value my work and who understand me and flow in that direction. I'm not particularly interested in, you know, in dynamics where I don't feel valued or where I feel as if there's a wall being thrown up in my way. But I do think that, the positive is that the opportunities and, the space for more creators of color continues to open. And I think that that's a consequence in part of, there being more shows and more, films being made now than in the past, which means that there are just more opportunities open to everyone. But the gatekeepers still exist and they will. So, my hope is to help create opportunities for other people and to continue working with my collaborators who are helping me get through where we can.
Awesome. And finally, are there any plans for you to write and direct your next feature film project? Because, it's been a minute since Master. What can we anticipate from director Mariama?
Well, there are a few things that I'm really excited about, and I had been working on some things. Unfortunately, the WGA, as a WGA member, I'm on strike until the AMPTP and the WGA can reach a deal. I think it's incredibly important for the writers to be on strike and to hold our line.
Of course.
Yeah, I solely directed for The Other Black Girl, which is why I'm in the fortunate position of being able to do my part to get the word out. But I'm dying to get back to work on all other projects. Fingers crossed that we get somewhere soon. And then I would love to share that with you.
Awesome. Fair enough. And for my fans at home, everybody go check out The Other Black Girl, arriving on Hulu September 13th. Mariama, thank you for talking to me and congratulations.
Thank you so much.